The final score today, 30-0 in favor of St. Francis over the LIU Sharks. I'm Jeff Kroll. Neil Marks at my side. We'll be back to wrap it up in just a few minutes, but first we'll send it back to the studio. John Zoni with the second half highlights and the Northeast Conference scoreboard.
You're listening to LIU Sharks football, part of Homecoming Weekend here on 88.1 FM WCWP.
Thanks, Jeff. This is John Zoni, and welcome to the LIU Sharks post-game report on this homecoming weekend. Unfortunately, not the result fans of the blue and gold were hoping for, as St. Francis pulls away in the second half for a 30-0 victory. This game was actually fairly close most of the way, and then St. Francis broke it open late. We'll go over the second half highlights now. It was 9-0 at the half, and there was no scoring in the third quarter, but after the Sharks pinned St. Francis in deep with a punt, pinned them down at the 2-yard line. About midway through the third quarter, St. Francis then went on a time-consuming drive. It ended up being 15 plays, 98 yards, and taking 8:41 off the clock, and it led to this on the first play of the fourth quarter.
St. Francis has the ball in a 9-0 lead. First and goal from the 10. Brown, little pass to the outside. Inside the 5, it's a touchdown for the Red Flash.
And that was an 11-yard touchdown pass from Jason Brown to Terrell Johnson to wrap up that lengthy drive for the Red Flash. The extra point was good, and St. Francis was now up 16-0. Sharks unable to get anything going offensively, turned the ball back over on downs after a punt, and St. Francis taking over on their own 21, didn't move anywhere on the first two plays after the punt, but on the third play after the punt, a much different result.
Is a pass on 3rd and 10. Brown throwing long down the field, and the receiver is open. It's caught down at the 25, 20, 10, touchdown St. Francis.
79 yards from Jason Brown to E.J. Jenkins for Brown, his third touchdown pass of the afternoon. Extra point was converted, and the Red Flash led the Sharks 23-0. And later on in the fourth quarter, St. Francis would round out the scoring on this play.
There is a handoff to the end zone. Touchdown, St. Francis.
Derek Wiley with a 2-yard touchdown run there. That touchdown was set up on the drive. It was a 28-yard Jason Brown run and also a pass interference penalty against the Sharks over the course of that drive that put St. Francis in scoring territory. And that was it for the scoring on the afternoon, as your final score, the St. Francis Red Flash 30 and the LIU Sharks nothing. Sharks fall to 0-6 now and 0-5 in the Northeast Conference. St. Francis is now 4-3, 2-1 in the Northeast Conference. Looking at other scores around the NEC, 2 games final. Duquesne went on the road and won at Sacred Heart this afternoon, 20-6. Also winning on the road today was Robert Morris, a 21-13 at Wagner, holding off a late Wagner drive right at the end. So a good day for the Western Pennsylvania teams in the NEC, all coming east and all getting road victories in Duquesne, Robert Morris, and St. Francis. Only team in the conference that's going to win at home today are the Central Connecticut Blue Devils, who are in the process of wrapping up their game with the Bryant Bulldogs. Late fourth quarter, Central Connecticut 52 and Bryant 14. Central Connecticut on the verge of going to 6-1 in the conference. Now Bryant will fall to 2-6. And LIU Sharks, their next game is with the aforementioned Central Connecticut Blue Devils next Saturday afternoon at Arute Field in New Britain, Connecticut. That'll be a noon kickoff, a game you can hear right here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Meanwhile, St. Francis goes back home for their next conference game against Sacred Heart. And that will do it for the highlights on the afternoon. Unfortunately, not very many for the Sharks as they fall again 30-0 to St. Francis. And now let's throw it back to Jeff and Neil at the stadium. I've been John Zoni, and this is the LIU Sharks post-game report.
You still are John Zoni. You realize that? I mean, you just said you have been John Zoni. I just want to be technically correct. He is still John Zoni. John, you still there? I just want to say hi and thank you very much for your contributions today. And, you did a show last night, too.
Yep, and as always, it's great to be back for homecoming weekend. Ideally, we would have liked a better result on the field today, but it's always fun to come back and get a chance to be on the air. As you said, I was on the air last night with the show as well, and then back here for the game today, doing this on the studio side with you and Neil out there at the stadium. And
John John works for that place up there.
The worldwide leader.
Yeah, the worldwide leader there. And how are they getting along on a Saturday without you there? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. It's like I'm sure I'll find. I'm sure if it didn't go well, I'll find out. The funny part is you talk about that when we talk about the Sharks game next week. It's like, unfortunately, I'm back to doing my college football duties at work on Saturday next week, which is
how far is New Britain?
New Britain is basically 10 minutes away. It's like it's literally about 2 or 3 exits on I-84 from where I am. It's like I've been to a few basketball games there the last years. Again, it's like since I'm usually working college football Saturdays, haven't been to many football games there. I think the last time I saw a football game there at Central Connecticut, they were playing St. John's, and that's obviously a long time ago because St. John's no longer has a program. So it would have been nice to be able to get. Unfortunately, I am working next Saturday, so I will.
And of course, when we say the worldwide leader, we're referring to ESPN there, folks. For anyone tuned in, thank you, John, very much your help. And now go make sure Bobby is ready for us.
Right, we'll do, guys.
There,
thanks.
right?
He made a few extra songs than he expected to get a lot quicker.
That's it. Here he is filling in for Bernie, and now he's going to have even more time to fill than we originally thought.
It's Bobby G for Bernie Bernard. Oh yes, we're going to have some fun here. And that's Midnight Confessions. I am Bobby G. Welcome aboard. We have all kinds of goodies planned for you, assuming I don't have Mr. Technical Difficulty on the premises, which happens occasionally. But it's Homecoming 2019, and one of my partners in crime on The Rock Show is good old Jett Lightning. How you doing today, boss?
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's
good to have you here. It's an honor to be here for Homecoming.
Good old Mike Riccio is in transit. That football game really ended kind of early, and we got shellacked, unfortunately. But we're on Division I now, and it's tough. So
it's a whole new thing for us, but hopefully down the line we'll be competitive.
It's going to take a while.
We're the new kids on the block. So.
Exactly. So that's what it is. All right. This is one of the tunes I played way back in the day. Let's see if anybody remembers this one. This is the Chambers Brothers.
Oh yeah.
You're listening to the Best of Countdown Show with survey guy Mike Riccio and his co-host Bobby G. Part of Homecoming Weekend here on 88.1 FM WCWP.
Mike's in transit, so he'll be around in a bit. We're going to play the biggest hits for the acts that appeared at Woodstock. In the meantime, I've got some stuff to share with you that's some special mixes. This is one of my all-time favorites. The Doors and Blondie in a mashup. Check this one out.
Riders on the storm.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's Bobby G. I got Bernie with me. I got a little static there, Bernie. Are you on the line with me good?
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, good. It's live radio, troops and troopettes, and good old Mike Riccio is here.
Hi, Bernie.
I know. I see the camera in the studio. What a great gizmo!
Because I can see everybody there. Here?
And Jeff and Jett and Mike and Jane, Arlene, and Bobby. There's a cool T-shirt you have.
He's hiding himself. He put on the hood.
He's in the witness protection program.
Yeah, he should be.
Let's call me Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I call you Mike Z. How's that?
Well, he got the counts, several counts.
Bernie, you are missed but not forgotten. Bobby G already played the 18-hour version of Time Has Come Today. I was able to take a vacation, fill up my car 4 times, and the song was still going on.
Well, that's because he was driving here. He wasn't, an hour and a half early like Uncle Bob.
And if I had known, Bertie, if I had known the other night that you were going to call in after I spoke to Jeff and Pat, and that you would manage to call in right after he played Sugar Sugar, I would have insisted that for the first time ever, you did the outro on Sugar Sugar, so you had me beat on that.
I would have done it. I'm not feeling well. You know,
And that'll make you feel worse.
I probably would have done it.
Yeah, Bernie backselling.
Yeah.
Jeez, that would have been great. Yeah.
Well, how do you feel, Vern? That's the first question.
Well, guys, I would be there. This is the first time in more than 20 years that I have not been there, and I am missing all of you. I have to be pretty sick not to come to homecoming, so I have really bad bronchitis, and I need to just chill for about 2 weeks and not do anything and try and get better, and hopefully get up there next year. I will be there next year, and I don't know when we're doing the Hall of Fame ceremony, if that's the WCWP Hall of Fame, if that's going to be in the spring again, or we're doing it at a different time. I don't know, but I'd love to be there for that.
I would imagine it's going to be in the spring, but we don't have a date yet. We did some nominations, but I don't have the results. I
think they're still going. I think the results are still being tabulated.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But that's something I would love to come up for. But in the meantime, look toward homecoming next year, and it's great. Thank you for pitching in and doing the show. Up until about last weekend, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it. And then it's like, no, I'm not. I better tell somebody I can't make it. But thank you guys for filling in. Thank you. And thank you for playing Denmark Street.
That's what I was going to mention. We had to keep the tradition. I spoke with Jeff at the fourth quarter when the game was on, which you usually do, and gave a little preview as to what Mike and I would be doing, which Mike will fill you in on in just a bit. And we wanted to play Denmark Street, so we got that all hooked up, but then I had a little issue with my CD player here, so we played some long cuts so we could all relax and get settled in.
And we'll play your promo also, Bertie.
Now.
Yeah, everything's up and running now. We're good.
Good.
Yeah, we're going to play your promo today. In your honor, we are going to give out WCWP flu shots today, too.
Right. Right. So, let me do the flu shot thing.
Bernie Bernard.
Flu shots are available. Go down to Florida, get them right now. And also, Melinda's flu shots are also available from
Bernie Bernard.
Oh, no.
It's jingle abuse. You know that. We have a term for that. When you play other person's jingles without permission, that's jingle abuse. Jingle abuse.
Right.
Yeah,
at least you're using it, so that's fine.
That's right. It's good publicity for you, actually.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't got your flu shot, you got to.
What was that?
Oh, be careful.
10-second delay.
10-second delay, no problem. If you haven't got your shot yet, you better get one from
Bernie Bernard.
There you go.
If you get close enough, I'll give you the food.
Bobby still thinks it's the days of Steve Post over here, I think.
Well, yeah, Poor Steve passed away, and all his buddies are passing away.
I know.
Marshall Efron, I saw, just passed.
And is it true BAI went off the air recently?
They were taken over by Pacifica, so the California group is running the programming over BAI, so the staff there is not on the air. Oh, well, all things come to an end, unfortunately. Yeah. Including this program at 10 o'clock. But who's counting?
And you're presuming it's all good things.
That's right.
We don't know yet. Well, the verdict isn't in yet.
Well, Mike's going to take over the controls in a little bit.
Well, Bernie, we're playing a lot of the Woodstock stuff today. And I have to say that
peace and love.
Yeah, well, you know what? I tried to salvage it a little bit. What I tried to do was at least take the hit songs from the acts who did Woodstock. It's amazing how many hits they had that actually made the top 100. But it's also amazing how many of these acts that you would never think would have made the top 100 actually had songs on it. So every one is going to be represented. And I was just thinking today, and I was hoping that you would be able to call and check in, because literally when I was here and Woodstock was going on, okay, call it me in my own little Archie world, but I remember very little about that. All I remember was, a bunch of hippies going up to Woodstock, crowding the roads. And I remember actually the traffic up there that was being reported on more than anything else. I never realized the extent of the acts that were there, acts like Creedence Clearwater and everything else. I'm curious, Bernie. Now, I didn't have any inkling at all to go there. I do remember what was going on in the news reports, and I actually do remember mostly the traffic reports, how everything was so horribly backed up and people couldn't get in and couldn't get out of there. But I'm curious, what do you remember from them? Because you were more into that side of things and more of the progressive rock that we used to talk about.
Oh, sure.
Bobby also. But were you more entrenched in what was going on? Did you know what was going on and following it that much?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, my parents were out of town, and I wanted to go. But the traffic was so bad that by then they had closed the thruway, and I couldn't do it. But I really wanted to go. And it would have been perfect because they were out of town for the weekend. And, of course, I probably would have gotten stranded up there. But before, one or two friends and we were making the decision to go, but then it's like, we're never going to get there because traffic has just stopped dead. Mm-hmm. So we might as well hang in and watch the news reports on TV.
Mm-hmm. And I was program director at the time, and Mike was music director. We had this station to run, so I wasn't going to be able to run away to go anywhere.
I do remember talking about it with you guys. With
I have,
and with
you know how they do on cable news where they have, updates and stuff like that? Look what I have in my hands here.
It's a new weather report for this afternoon.
No, it's not a new weather report. By the way, my power was shut off for an hour last night. I'm waiting wherever they do repairs
I lost it all night
from
too.
Several days before. They just had to shut it off for safety of the workers. But anyway, Bernie, the WCWP Hall of Fame 2020 inductees have been determined, and at 6 o'clock we will announce them. Dan Cox, our station manager, just handed me the envelope. I will not open it until 6 o'clock. Pete Bellotti is going to come by. I was teasing him before he was coming by just for the cheese doodles I bought, but I guess this was this was the real reason. I don't know about that. I think the cheese doodles went out over this, but we'll have to send an investigation.
That's all sealed up, Bob, with the
it's
glue
sealed.
on it and everything?
It's hermetically sealed.
I'm gonna boil a pot of hot water in the back. Can I have that for a minute? I used to joke I'll hold it up to the mic, but now that we have a Periscope, if you're watching us on Google Periscope, you can actually see it in my hot little hand. Is that actually
That's a camera. You better put your hood back on because your promotion officer has been checking up on you. Oh, Bernie, it's so much fun to be here and give Mike a hard time.
That's okay.
I know. I wish I was there with all of you.
You have the chance before you get taken off the line. So if there's something else you want to tell them bad about the Archies, feel free.
Well, listen. Since Bobby and I always follow you, what we have to do next year is we will do a 10-minute music swap. Okay, you will do the intros and outros on a couple of top 40 of my select top 40 songs, and I'll have to do the same on some of your weird. Progressive.
Right. I brought some for Mike to outro right here in my hot little hands. Let's see. We have one of Mike's favorites, the Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. That'll be a good outro.
We have one of Mike Chimeri's favorites.
One of Mike Chimeri's here. We're going to play that too. Yes, we'll make them. But that's fits in. We'll play them back to back, and then we have music from Big Pink. I think that's one of your favorites, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then we have some piano music from Rick Wakeman.
Morning is Broken.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to play that.
Does he actually?
Maybe we'll play that right after we get off the air with Bernie, because this is freeform radio here.
Yeah.
Now that WBAI is off the air, we'll just do anything we darn please. I might play that next.
I look forward to doing that little exchange next year. I think that'll be fun. You got a deal.
Okay, then
that sounds good.
We will do that. I will play Morning is Broken, and then Michael can set up his stuff for Woodstock. He's going to run the board. We were surprised to get here so early on the air because the football game was a runaway for the other team, the St. Francis Red Flash. They were previously known as the Blackouts, I think, but they moved up to Red Flash.
They were the Red Flash.
They stopped drinking, and then the ambulance came with the Red Flash. So that's the story of that. They were going to find out the original name of that, but it was the Blackouts because the Red Flash came with the ambulance after they were drinking. They sent Jeff a memo not to drink before the game this year for the first time. So Ted David sent one that said drink during the game just to get everything, copacetic.
Was that sent for the team? The team wasn't allowed to drink before the game?
No.
So they drank during the game, and that's what happened.
We just worry about our announcers, Mike. The team can do what they do. They're under the coach's domain. All right, Bertie, all seriousness aside.
That was serious?
Get well soon.
Is there any seriousness around?
Yeah.
All XMs aside, not serious.
So let me just see what track this is, and we'll go right into this. Glad that Mike is here
Rick
to
Wakefield?
Wakeman, the guy in Yes.
Rick Wakeman.
Yes.
No, wait a minute. He was right. He was in Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Rick Wakeman.
That's right.
Yeah.
And okay, it's track 9.
He's actually on a tour right now.
Yeah, I saw him at the Paramount with one of the DJs up here, D Gunboats. Do you know him?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, we went and we saw him, and I saw what's his face, Alan Parsons also at Town Hall. I got a slew of tickets in my.
Bernie, if I'm right about this, let me know. I think that isn't. He still to this day is a little. It always sounds this way in interviews to me. It's a little bit bitter that he didn't really get the credit that he felt he deserved on that piano session for Morning Is
Yes,
Broken.
he did. He did.
I know he did it, but I feel
He
that
got
he
paid
still
about 30-something years later.
Yeah, that he still has some bitterness about it. Now, in the interviews, because I know that you followed the Yes in his career, and he is a bit bitter about that, right? He feels he didn't get the correct credit for that.
Well, his new tour is called The Grumpy Old Rock Star.
That's right.
Well, no, don't talk about us in that way.
We're the grumpy old announcers. Actually, Mike and I are not old. We are vintage DJs.
We're seasoned,
slightly salty.
with a little mold on the side. But that's interesting.
Let me tell you, Rick Wakeman is just grumpy in general. So,
okay.
He's kind of, sort of an old curmudgeon. That
Yes.
admits it freely. So
He doesn't look like a happy
Grumpy Old
man.
Rock Star Tour.
That's why he's grumpy.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. He doesn't look like every picture I always see him. He's frowning. Hold up the CDs. Is he frowning in this too?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, there he is. Look at him. Here he is again. Look at the guy. I mean, come on, lighten up, Rick.
He does look angry.
Right, he does.
Wow.
Well, he plays very nicely. That's
Wait a
what
minute,
really matters.
Didn't Styx have Angry Young Man? Wasn't there? Didn't Styx have what, an album or a cut called The Angry Young Man?
That's Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. Oh, that was
That's
close.
my classmate.
Billy Joel used to listen to
He's
Styx.
not an angry young man.
No, okay. All right.
Got a lot of money. Why should he be angry?
All right. So this is in honor of the Grumpy Old Man tour,
All
right,
right.
Bernie?
So we'll go into this with a Bernie Bernard jingle. Bernie, we're going to say goodbye. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Bernie, get
Bye,
well.
Bernie.
We
Bye,
all
Bernie.
miss you, and
Yep.
we'll see you soon.
Get well soon, Bernie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bernie Bernard.
Hey, Mike. How we doing?
Hiya, Bobby. How's everything? WCWP.
This is about the time we thought we'd start today.
Well, about
Yeah.
2.5 hours earlier. but-
Actually, we thought we'd start around 7 originally, and then we had a little chat with Bernie, who wasn't able to be, and we had a little phone conversation
Let's see.
about Bernie's flu shots.
We were supposed to be on at 8 or 7 o'clock. It's now 5:15.
Well, that's why I had to play
2
Times
hours.
Come Today for
Give or
14
take
hours
2 hours and
before.
15 minutes. That's okay.
So Woodstock's our deal today.
Yeah, Woodstock is here for one reason, because you had a great idea to do this. I said, okay, what
I
are we
come
going
up
to do?
with the ideas, and you do all the work, just as always.
Yeah, that's great.
I like the idea.
Thank you, Jett. That's Jett Lightning here with us, and Mike Riccio and Bobby G on the Friday night afternoon, Saturday,
Whatever it is.
the special homecoming edition of
we've
the.
come up with some very creative ideas over the years.
Yes.
Both of us.
And then you give me the assignment.
Well,
it takes me 5.5 days to finish everything. No, that's okay.
But some of them, have been a collaboration, and others we just, like the one we did with the countdown with the guys who were presidents in office was very interesting.
That's right.
And we did a progressive one. That was mostly your work. And we've done other ones over the years. It's been interesting.
Well, the biggest challenge, believe it or not, with this is that, as you know, on the Friday night rock show that I do, it's always a countdown.
Right.
And I can time this out and make sure I get to all the songs on the list. But on something like this, the issue is, of course, how can I get to everything on the list? Because it's sort of free form. We have people talking, and there's really not an exact time restraint on this. So what we usually do is something where we'll play highlights of such and such, so it's a little bit more flexibility there. Right. So when you mentioned to do Woodstock, which everybody, of course, was celebrating this year, I thought it was a great idea. Of course, it presented a challenge, because if we say, well, we're going to play the top 20 or top 30 Woodstock acts that actually became hits, it's a little bit restricting, because how we know we're going to get to that, we may run out of time or we may not have enough time. But what we put our heads together came up with was to play the acts that were at Woodstock but actually had chart songs that made the top 100. Could have been number one, could have been number 100. But of the acts that were at Woodstock, the ones that actually made the top 100 and play their biggest hit.
Right.
And I have some of their second and third biggest hits to fill in just in case we need it. But I found it very interesting to try to figure out, okay, which ones actually made the top 100, which were the biggest hits. And there are some songs here. I told Jeff and Pat Kroll the other night, there are some songs here that I completely forgot that they even existed, and probably haven't heard some of them, and they actually did make the chart. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to be doing, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Interesting. By the way, I saw Melanie at Suffolk Theater just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was a very nice show.
Yeah.
She was with Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Okay. Now, here's a question that I have. The question that I have is, did she do the extremely long, drawn-out version of Brand New Key, where she explains how it came up with it? And, what's that?
Came after Woodstock.
No, I'm saying, did she do it?
She did. She did that at the thing. Yeah. But we on this program today don't claim that it had to be before or at the time of Woodstock.
Yeah, some of these,
this goes past that time because, like, for example, Sly and the Family Stone had a bunch of big hits that we might play tonight. It's the qualifier for this is that they appeared at Woodstock.
Okay.
Now, I did an interview with Tom Harkins, who wrote a book, FYI, for your information, Woodstock.
Right.
And he does a chapter on every single group that attended the Woodstock concert and appeared. So,
and I have here, which I will give you, I have here something you can reference, which is the actual list in order of the acts that were at Woodstock and what they performed, the songs they performed. So we'll be able to actually reference what they performed, which acts came on when, in what order. It's interesting because day one was, remember the date? Was August 15th of 1969 on a Friday. And the first performer there, as a matter of fact, I'll play the biggest hit from this performer, was at 5 o'clock. You remember who it was? Have any idea who the first act who performed there was?
Richie Havens is my guess.
That's right. And he performed, here's a list of what he performed. He performed From the Prison, Get Together, From the Prison Again. Maybe he was afraid of running out of songs that he only did two. Yeah. He did High Flying Bird, I Can't Make It Anymore, Handsome Johnny, Strawberry Fields Forever, and Freedom. Now, question is, do you think that any of those actually made the top 100? Which do you think
some
was?
Some of them might have. Handsome Johnny was an FM hit. I don't know if it got into the top 100.
Should I kick us off with what was his biggest hit? Do you have any guesses as to what it might be?
I know what his biggest hit was.
He had a couple that made the chart.
What do
you think? Here Comes the Sun. What do you think?
I know that was one of them, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so shall we start and see what this is?
Fine.
And see if Mr. Lightning was right. You're usually pretty good on these guesses, most of the time. When you peek at the answer, no, he's good at it. Yeah, this was it. This was his biggest.
It's been a long, long, lonely winter. It's all right.
There we go, Mr. Richie Havens at. I didn't think you'd like me that much. WCWP, LIU Public Radio, 88.1 FM. That's WCWP.your.org. So always have to remember to .your.org.
.your.org, yes.
Looming over me is Bobby G. I'm Mike Riccio, and that was Here Comes the Sun, Richie Havens.
And Julio was very good on the guesses, I must say.
That's right. So we could share over here, Bob, for two reasons.
I'm good.
Oh, okay, good. So anyway.
We want to do a promo for some of the shows that are coming up tonight. So we've recruited one of the gentlemen who was on yesterday.
Yes, at 2 o'clock.
And I listened, and you played some nice, smooth jazz, Michael.
Thank you.
This is Mike Chimeri.
Chimeri.
I always say his name wrong, so he has to
correct I'm used to it.
I do it every year. That's why I use G, because
Art Beltran mispronounced it coming into my show.
I'm going to do a shout-out to Hank Niemark in Athens, Greece, listening right now.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Nice.
That's the beauty of WCWP.org. You can listen to us anyway. So, Mike, tell us what's coming up.
Well, after you guys, we got Alan Boritz at 10, then Rita Sands, Hank Niemark, and John Libretto. This is a pre-recorded show called Strictly Jazz. That's at midnight. Then my pre-recorded Instrumental Invasion with Mike Chimeri at 2, and Magic Mike Hendricks at 4 a.m., and then Strictly Jazz reruns at 6 a.m. And Jay LaPree at 8 a.m. And you want me to keep going?
Yep, keep going.
Okay. Jamie Mazzo and Sarah Dorchak, the ladies of Prison Break Radio, at 10 a.m. Billy the Kid, Billy Houst at noon. Joe Honerkamp at 2 p.m. Lou Scharfberg at 4. Grandfather Rock, Chris McIntosh at 6. Alana at 8. And Jeff Kroll takes us out at 10 p.m.
And I got to do another plug because our station manager came in just a little while ago, and the inductees for next year have been tabulated, and we will be announcing them, which used to be Bernie's job, by the way, with the help of Pete Bellotti. As I was joking, he came for the cheese doodles, but he's going to give us that information.
I didn't even bring a drum roll.
So we had to do all those promos.
All right.
So what's on the show, on your show, Mike? Tell us some of the artists that you're going to play.
Well, what I've been doing for the pre-recorded Instrumental Invasions is a 50-year musical journey, except for 2017 for the 40th anniversary of Homecoming Weekend. I just did a 40-year. So I play music in 5-year increments, in this case starting in 1969 and ending in 2019. So we got, I don't have the playlist on me at the moment, but...
You can give us a couple of little tastes to tell us.
Well, we start with Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, then Return to Forever, Herb Alpert again, Spyro Gyra, and that just covers 1969, 74, and 79. It goes on from there. David Benoit and Russ Freeman are in there a couple of times, and you'll just have to listen to find out the rest at 2 a.m.
Do that. I was going to suggest that we make him come and do a live show, Mike, but he didn't go for that. I mean, it's only 2 o'clock in the morning.
No,
I thought you and I were coming back to do midnight to 6 tonight.
Well, you know, the way this has worked out, we just might as well just move in.
Yeah, that's right.
We're here till 10.
Well, that's good stuff. I like Herb Alpert, one of my favorite instrumental
And you know who
acts.
goes Herb Alpert?
Yeah.
Jeff Kroll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Herb Alpert is one of the few acts that can claim hit records, instrumental and vocal.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy's in love with you.
Right.
This guy's in love with you. They kiss the sky and the sky. No, don't put your arm around me, Bob. We're getting a little bit too into it.
We got the Periscope on over here.
There we go. So, all right, that's good. That's good. And what time is that you'll be on your show?
2 a.m. Right after Strictly Jazz at midnight with Rita Sands, Hank Niemark, and John Libretto.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I'll set my overnight alarm clock so I could listen to your show, Mike.
Sounds good.
All right, so that's good. And what we're doing, Bobby G and me, and with the wonderful help of Mr. Jett Lightning, is we're going back to the Woodstock years of all the acts that performed during Woodstock. Mm-hmm. So there was Richie Havens was the first. The second was who, Bob? Now, this is someone who didn't have a Hot 100
this
song.
This is
an opening address was given by, you can try to pronounce
Swami Satchidananda.
Right. Not bad, not bad. And the next act was surprisingly another one that probably you remember from LP
yes, I
days.
remember the LP days, Sweetwater.
Sweetwater, but did not have a top 100.
One of our jocks on Monday came in and did an interview with Sweetwater.
There you go.
And they are appearing and have been appearing in the New York area very recently. So, yeah, they're still around.
Sweetwater came on at 6:15 after the Swami finished his thing.
Right.
And Richie Havens finished his thing. And then an act came on who, it's one of those acts that didn't even have his charts song out when he performed at Woodstock, performed a bunch of songs that really didn't do anything. But I got to tell you something, in getting this thing together and coming up with this one chart song, it brought back memories. I think the only place I ever heard this was here. And I remember playing this because you guys used to play it on the progressive music side, and we played it on the top 40 music side. Jett, you probably would remember too, Mr. Bert Summer. So tell us what his hit record was. You don't remember Bert Summer, huh? He's waving no.
I'm so happy he got one wrong.
Yeah. Do you remember what it was, Bob?
No, of course not.
No. Okay. All right, so let's play it and see if you guys remember. This was, and I actually could tell you why. You don't have to feel bad about not remembering this, Jett, because
I want him to feel bad.
This was on the chart in 1970, the following year, for 2 months, 8 weeks. We're all playing in the same band. Bob, you remember it now?
I do.
Oh, yeah, sure. Now you say you remember
After
it.
the fact.
Bert Summer.
We're all playing in the same band.
There we go. We had to honor Bernie with that one. Then we played the three biggest hits by Canned Heat there as you're listening to the Homecoming Weekend. Mike Riccio and Bobby G and Jett Lightning is up here with us. 88.1 FM, WCWP.org, LIU Public Radio, and we played Bernie's jingle. Why, Bobby?
Well, because around this time, Bernie would make the announcements about the new inductees to the WCWP Hall of Fame. So fortunately for us, I brought up some snacks, and Pete Bellotti came up for that. But I then, because he happened to be on the premises, roped him into making the official announcements, being that Bernie's not here. And the real reason is that he's one of the most recent inductees with his class from last year. See, I'm in the class of 2015, so I'm only 25, so it's no problem.
And deservedly so.
Well, thank you very much. It was truly an honor last year, and just an honor to be here with you guys. And for Bernie, this was a tradition. This has been a tradition for Bernie, and we miss her. And
we sure do.
And we hope she gets better, gets well, and comes back for next year, and we'll be happy to see her back next year.
Yep, she was one of the backbones of this station, and she still is, even by remote. We all love her, we all miss her, and we sure hope she comes back soon.
One of the first female disc jockeys to hit the real big time.
That's right.
And Scott Muni hired her as music director at WFM.
That's right. She still has those pipes of gold, as we say in the business.
You love to listen to her voice on the radio.
Yeah, she just a soothing voice for everybody, and we love her. So get well, Bernie. We'll see you soon. But that brings us to...
It is 20 seconds to 6 o'clock. I feel like Guy Lombardo.
well, let's
counting down to the new year.
Or Dick Clark.
Let's tell everybody once again that this is Homecoming 2019 for WCWP, which went on the air yesterday, a total of 58 years ago. And later on, when Mike has to take off, I have the songs that were in the top 10 the day the station went on the air.
You guys don't miss a beat.
That's something to look forward to. Yeah, well, I have a great deal of fun coming up here. This is WCWP, Brookville, New York. It's exactly 6 o'clock.
All right.
It's all yours, Pete.
27 people have been in the WCWP Hall of Fame right now, and we are going to add two new inductees to the Hall of Fame coming up this year. The ceremony I believe, is going to be in the spring. Dates still to be determined, and I have opened up the envelope, and I have the two names right here.
I'd like to thank the Academy. And,
you have one already.
Anyway.
Bobby, why don't you talk about the first inductee on the top of this list?
Alan Seltzer, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Alan is the host of The Groove Yard. And Alan is one of the first people that came up to the station after WLIU in Southampton College was sold. One of the rules about owning a state university is they may not own a radio station. So by law, they had to sell WLIU. And at the time, WCWP was simulcasting that programming. So we were approached by Dan Cox, who was the station manager of WCWP, to start some new programming. We had dinner with Bernie, who we spoke of, and Michael, myself, back at a restaurant in Westbury.
Yeah.
And we put together some plans to initiate original programming for the rock show. And one of the first people after the three of us that got started was Alan Seltzer. Alan Seltzer was number 4, the fourth person to join us. Now we have over 20 people involved in this program. So Alan is one of the pioneers, literally, even though we're not the pioneers anymore. Right. So we'll call him a shark if you want, because he bites,
Well, that's a football team. We can call ourselves
anything. The shark bites if it's Alan. So Alan Seltzer, congratulations. He hosts the Groove Yard.
Yep.
Which is on 7 to 10 on Saturday nights.
That's
Jett
right.
Lightning is a former host of that program.
I am.
And Artie Argyle, a.k.a. Kevin Dubinsky. And he's made it into a quite successful program.
Alan gives his heart and soul to the station, and he really did quite a bit in getting the music up here from that era in here. And he really is such a devoted member of this station. He really deserves it. I'm glad that he made the cut.
And prior to Pat and Jeff Kroll, who run the Homecoming Weekend, Alan had this job, and I got to tell you, it's a tough job.
Yeah, Alan, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Alan, just from the years of service when I was doing the Alumni Association, running the Alumni Association, he put his heart and soul into that homecoming weekend, and he puts his heart and soul into WCWP. He should be in this Hall of Fame, and working closely with him the first few years of the Alumni Association, you see the effort and the how proud he is to be a part of this station, and he deserves this Hall of Fame. And I was super pleased that you were elected last year, because I know how much work you put in, and you really did get the Hall of Fame for WCWP off the ground.
So these two names now, this is the first time they're finding out also?
No, they found out earlier today.
The second name,
okay,
the second name
we haven't revealed yet, but well-deserved, Alan.
Yes. So, congratulations to Alan.
Congratulations to you.
And the second name will hit students here a little closer to home.
Yes.
Christina Kay. She...
Yeah. It's a way of saying that she's not as old as we are.
No, yeah.
But
vintage.
A tremendous contributor to WCWP.
Yeah.
I know just from her years here as a program director, and now over at Walk on the air in Afternoon Drive, the dedication she gave to WCWP. She was one of the best program directors we've ever had a part of this station. And Christina Kay will join Alan in the Hall of Fame this year. And I know there's a lot of students that are here today that are probably very happy about Christina getting in, and very well deserved. And she worked with Dan very closely for many years, and now a very successful professional career at Walk. And I tell you, the interaction I've had with her, she's first class all the way, and she's a pro, and just defines the character of the Hall of Fame.
And I have to say, I didn't know Christina personally, but through the station, just listening to her work, so professional, the promotion work she did here, her promos on the air, what she did internally, just finding out from other people, I was really impressed. Maybe I met her once or twice, probably wouldn't even remember when I had met her, but I just thought that she really embodied the spirit of the people that we elect into the Hall of Fame. You
take the station usually to another level when you are in a role of a manager, and Christina took this station to that next level. She took the ball and ran with it. She's one of the hardest workers. I came up several times, and she was burning the midnight oil up here. Yeah, really. So congratulations to Alan and Christina on their election into the WCWP Hall of Fame, the class of 2020. 29 members now in the Hall of Fame.
That's it. All right. Should we get back to our music here, Bob?
I think we have to have Barbara Walters say, and this is 2020, but...
she's not already know. Barbara Walters is 91 now. Do you realize that? Unbelievable. All right, let's get back to the music and a song that was performed by this act up at Woodstock, and I think Bernie would be proud to know.
Oh, we forgot to tell Peter. Next year, you're going to play all these songs in the actual order that they performed at Woodstock. Okay. So you're allowed to bring someone else while you take your sleeping breaks. Oh, good. But it's yours for the entire... I was going to sing everybody else is off. They get a year off. But you have every single song. Mike's going to prepare them all for you. All you got to do is play them in order.
It's Friday at 9, right through Monday morning. Okay.
I'll be up as long as I can sing two.
That's the bad news. The good news is I have some extra doodles I'll be bringing up.
Okay. I'm set. All set.
Okay, you're all set.
WCWP Brookville, 88.1 FM, WCWP.org.